And they were communistic at the time, but guess what happened when we quit dropping bombs on them and started talking to them? They finally became more westernized. They do business with us. We invest over there. They travel over here. We're friends with them. And China's our banker. I mean, what the heck? What's going on here? So they didn't engulf the world with authoritarian communism. They're far from perfect, but we are too. But just think of what has happened with Vietnam, with peace, versus the disaster of what we tried to do with war. So on my vote, my efforts, my desire is to work for a peaceful society, not one based on war and force and intimidation. Experiment with liberty produced the freest and the most prosperous society. I believe it's deeply threatened. I think our middle class is getting smaller and we are less wealthy. And we have to make a decision, on what we're going to do. Are we going to continue with the status quo and send people to Washington that's going to continue the same policy? Or are we going to send only people that will challenge foreign policy, civil liberties, challenge the Federal Reserve, challenge the budgetary spending, and this whole principle, and make sure we live within the law, live within the Constitution? So this is what is necessary. But we had the best experiment, and yet we're not doing that anymore. I mean, we're losing this. And I think what happened was freedom did create tremendous prosperity. And we as a people enjoyed it, but we concentrated on prosperity and material things, and it invited those individuals who would use government to make sure that they had access to this wealth and use force to redistribute their wealth. The entitlement system set up for the poor, except the entitlement system ended up helping the wealthy. You certainly could see that in the housing bubble. So we did that, but we forgot about freedom. We forgot about the principles. We forgot about what the revolution was all about. We forgot our Constitution. And now we're a debtor nation. We don't produce wealth. The other day somebody said, well, okay, how about this program we have here? Would you agree that the government ought to pay for that program? I says, where does the government get any money? I said, you want to tell me that I'm supposed to go steal some money so that you can have your program? Government creates nothing. They're destructive. They should be constructive in protecting liberty, but once they get so involved, they are destructive to the productive people in this country, and that's where we are today. So we have to not concentrate on the material wealth, but if we concentrate on freedom, we will have material wealth. That's the magnificent. If I had a choice of living in a free society where I was my own person, I could run my own life, and I would be poorer, I would want my own life. As a country, we don't have to make that choice. As a country, the freer we are, the wealthier we'll be. And the more you expect to get from a government in terms of material things, the less free we'll be. So we never have to make that choice. But we have lost our way, we've lost our confidence, we've lost this understanding. But right now, believe me, this whole idea, this whole concept of renewing the enthusiasm for liberty is coming alive. It's coming alive on the campuses. That is why I'm delighted to come to a campus and find so many young people who care about it. Over the years, in the earlier years, the parents would bring young people, high school and even college people, to the office and say, all right, this is your civics lesson today, I want you to meet the congressman. And they would be sort of dragged along. But that hasn't happened in the last 5 years. Now, the young people come along and they drag their parents in. Their parents. I think that's pretty neat. And I've always thought, well, maybe the parents will be embarrassed, maybe they say, oh no. But the parents are delighted. They come in and they're all smiles. They're saying, "That's wonderful. I'm so glad my children are interested." And they have become interested. But there are a lot of others, not only the young people who have excited their parents and their grandparents, but we've also had a remnant in society. There always is a remnant. I think of Solzhenitsyn, who was part of the Russian remnant. Here was a person that was born at the time of the Russian Revolution. But by the time the Soviet system collapsed, here he was. He was well educated. He could speak English. He knew the classics. He knew something about freedom in spite of the most totalitarian society ever. But there's always a remnant, a group of people who may be very quiet. They may be very unenthusiastic about the process because nothing ever seems changed, but they know what the truth is, they know what the principles are, and I think that group of people, those people that were the independents or the people that were undecided and just not paying attention or had dropped out, that group is alive and well, and it's coming together with the young people. There is a lot of enthusiasm, and we... there, and we do understand that it doesn't take an absolute majority to change things. It takes an irate, tireless minority keen on starting fresh fires of liberty. So let us continue our effort. I think the intellectual revolution is more important than the political revolution, but without the intellectual revolution, there is no political revolution. Some of my friends think you should be involved in politics. They think it's only an intellectual revolution, but what would have happened if the founders of this country, they were intellectuals, they knew what to do, but they were also political activists, to say the least. And this is what we have to do. We are on the verge of something, I think, very, very big because of necessity. The economy is bad. People are tired of the wars. We have the answers. We're better off than, say, the Russians and the other countries that have failed because we had a good background. And we've had a constitution and we know something about it. So it isn't quite as desperate as that. But freedom is a new idea. It is new in comparison to all of history. Tyranny is ancient, and when they tell you want to go back to something, just tell them, no, I want to go forward. I want to advance the cause of liberty and restore the greatness of America. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the champion of the Constitution. The greatest statesman of your lifetime. Thank you so much for coming.